overture, dim the lights. This is it, the night of nights, and oh, what highs will hit. On with the show, this is it.
Hey! Hello, Internet Dwellers, and welcome back to Top Shelf Disney Animation Studios Library, the show where we watch Disney films and talk about it because fun reasons. I am that clapping, man. Where's the entire audience? What happened to the 40 celebrities that we normally have here? There they are. They're all breathing heavily.
Amphitheater.
Yes, they're all breathing heavily into their hands to recreate the sound of an audience cheering. It's a really weird roundabout way of doing it, but... It's happening. I'm Jeff, one of the two fantastic co-hosts that are here every week to talk about these fun Disney films, and the other one is over there doing all the sound effects, as I've said in the past, the Michael Winslow of the podcast, TC DeWitt. Hello, TC.
Let's never speak of this again.
Mum is the word, the lips have been sealed, zipper shut. Key thrown. So, how have you been doing, TC? I should ask that first.
I'm great, Jeff. We're back.
We're back
for
again.
another week.
One of these weeks
Disney
we won't
conversation.
be back.
It's true. I do have a European trip coming up, and so we may take a week or two off, or I will figure out a way to record from Europe, which will be a wonderful. We're already dealing with a time zone change in America. Now I'm a world away.
Now it's a full 6 to 8 hours away from each other, which would be fantastic because that basically means that either I'll be recording at midnight and TC will be recording at like 8 a.m. or TC will be recording at 2 in the morning. Like it's one of those two. May not work.
And one of us will have that like early morning voice or like
it's probably going to be me because I don't know if you know this, but I have that voice up until the moment I hit record. So
it's until about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
Jeff sounds like he's chewing on gravel.
Yep.
That's great.
Most of the time, people have confused me with the guy who, Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Firestein.
Yeah, Firestein. That's who people, David. Everybody
Michael,
thinks that this is
David.
me.
David.
Oh crap. Also, people think I'm Krusty. Apparently, I'm also Krusty the Clown. It could be one of those.
That was a pretty good Krusty.
So with that,
you know what? We're talking about the wrong things about this.
Well,
but
I don't know.
What? That's how you do an introduction, folks. Welcome to the show.
The introductions you do are so in left field that we're back in right field again, and we're in the correct spot. That's how far away we are. It's around the earth. So the movie we watched. TC, what did we watch this week?
Peter Pan.
This movie,
1954,
53.
What's the 53? That's what I said. Come on.
Yeah. I heard there was a weird tone, and it sounded like the 3 was a 4, but I completely get that you said it was a 4.
1953.
Yep.
Pietro Pano.
For you foreign listeners, right? I don't know. We watched Peter Pan, and I kind of just so I feel like everybody knows Peter Pan, right? Like Peter Pan, the story of Peter Pan is fairly well known at this point, right? Like,
yeah, I think it'd be hard to find at least people older than adolescents who don't know the story of Peter Pan, and this is certainly again following the Disney the standard. Like this is. The only other Peter Pan movie I even think of is Hook, and we can discuss later whether or not Hook is better or not than this one. But I get the feeling, and I couldn't really find any way to verify this in some Googling about. But I think Walt Disney himself was determined to be the standard of all classics. Alice in Wonderland, Cinderella, Snow White, Peter Pan. This was the second movie he wanted to make, but things developed as they did. And I wonder if he was determined to be the first thing anyone thinks of when you think of some of these insanely classic standards of fairy tales and literature. Because Peter Pan was a pantomime, play, book, radio drama, movie, stage show, musical movie. This thing has been to and from every form of entertainment you could possibly imagine.
Right. And the thing is even with all of those versions, it is still the Disney version that people think of. I feel, again, setting aside the movie Hook for a minute, because I do strongly believe that Hook has just as much of a call to mind for a lot of people as the Disney version of Peter Pan does. So we will talk about Hook at the end. We will come back to Hook. We'll come back to that. Yeah, because I want to talk about it. But for now, we're
discussing about
Peter Pan.
Now, I don't know what version you watched, but I watched the restoration version, which had the first offering of something that is a beloved memory. It's the Disney blue screen with the White Castle logo and the
oh man!
It was the first of these movies that I've watched of the versions I've watched that had that logo on it, and that just took me back. I was a little kid again, watching the Disney Channel and watching all the Disney classics I grew up with, opened with that logo forever. It doesn't exist as the blue with the white anymore, because now they do the actual Disney Castle digitally.
Right.
But
see, and my version didn't have it. Didn't open with the Disney logo. It had the new modern 3D castle logo at the end after the credits are done. But it just opened with the RKO title card.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Did yours have that?
Different versions.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it did the Disney logo and then the RKO version. The actual movie began with the RKO logo and credits and whatnot.
Because that is something that we have not brought up, and this is some of the random miscellaneous trivia stuff that I don't really need to necessarily bring up unless it's important. But for those of you who maybe just aren't aware, we'll kind of recap. Basically, Disney had a release, had a contract and a deal with RKO Pictures. Now, RKO, probably better known for, is the studio that released King Kong, like the original King Kong. Way back in the day, yeah. So way back in the 30s, and it's the it's the planet with the radio antenna and the waves coming out. That's the RKO logo. I believe so. Disney originally this is pre Buena Vista. This is before Disney technically released films themselves. They were all RKO productions, or they were all RKO released, and then it was a Disney production, quote unquote. But a lot of these films, for the VHS and the DVD releases in the 80s and the early 90s, a lot of these films cut the RKO out because RKO went under. I think in the mid 60s, something like that. They went under, 50. And Disney then obviously owns the rights to their own movies, and they just cut the RKO out. It wasn't until these films started coming out on Blu-ray, I think, during the remasters, that they actually brought back the RKO title cards.
Right. They started doing the full restorations, putting everything back in. Yeah.
And I believe this is the last one that that RKO was a part of. This was the last full-length Disney animated film distributed by RKO. After this, it was strictly then Buena Vista is who releases all the Disney films.
That's not entirely surprising, because Peter Pan was a massive success. They finally had another hit on their hands. We've discussed this in watching these dozen plus films now, that a lot of these movies were flops or just had such low budgets because of the war, and really the only financial successes they've had up to this point have been Dumbo, because it was so cheap to make.
Yep.
Cinderella was a huge success because of its popularity and people were just ready for better than what they were offering before. And now this was a success too, off of the more or less failure of, well, not more or less, the failures of Alice in Wonderland.
And you know what? I will say this about this movie. It's friggin' beautiful. The animation is so crisp. It's so clean. And it there was a moment during the opening scene when I'm watching it, and they're inside the bedroom, and I'm like, the background drawings, the background of the bedroom itself just looked fantastic. It almost, my first thought was like, that almost looks 3D. Like it almost looks like it's a model, like not even not a painting, but just like a physical, like not even a physical thing. It looked like a 3D model, and I'm like, oh, that's right. No, it's all hand drawn. This is well before that, Jeff. It didn't take me that long to remember that. I'm not a total idiot. Everybody listening,
right? That was all internal monologue that played out in mere seconds. Jeff.
Exactly.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But like the movie is beautiful, and it's. But I will say this. So here's why I said a great compliment about the film. This movie's really dark. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Thematically
dark.
Yes.
But that is not exactly crazy because Peter Pan in itself is dark. There in the actual version of Peter Pan, the J.M. Barrie, go back to the source. Mm-hmm. Peter murders people. Like the Lost Boys. Like Peter Pan's the only guy who can't grow up. The Lost Boys grow up, and if they get too old,
doesn't he kill
them?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He weeds out the ranks. But this movie itself, like the introduction of Captain Hook, he kills a guy
immediately, shoots him, up in the crow's nest, right? Like the one playing the accordion type thing.
The accordion, yeah. Oh, Captain, you can't murder a guy in the middle of his song.
But like, I couldn't believe, like, I'm watching this movie and again, like, I know the story of Peter Pan, as we mentioned previously. I remember the 1960s version, like taped version of the play performance of Peter and the Pan.
Right. Mary Martin,
I think was, yeah. Like, I remember that. That's the version I grew up on for Peter and the Pan. And I know the story, but I'm watching this, and just like in the first 15 minutes, once like Tinkerbell shows up in the house, I'm sorry, but Tinkerbell is evil. I didn't know Tinkerbell was a bad guy, and she's a bad guy in this movie. She's almost worse than Hook.
Yeah, that's now there's some criticism from people that found Peter himself unlikable. That Walt himself was, despite the success of the film, was disappointed in how unlikable Peter is. Mm-hmm. However, the true literary scholars of Peter Pan, going back to J.M. Barrie's original source material, appreciated that because Peter is a psychopath. He's a sociopath. Is what he really is.
Yeah. Which is an interesting decision, like to make a character, because I think a lot of the general population, when you think of Peter Pan, you're going to be like, oh, Peter Pan. Well, yeah, he's a good, he's a guy, he's a kid that never wants to grow up, and yeah, maybe that's like. There's some issues with a person who never actually wants to grow up and just wants to stay a kid forever. Mm-hmm. But you're like, oh, but he's got the mind of a child, and he's playful, and he's okay. He's not going to hurt anybody. But like, it's so weird to be like, well, no, this guy's kind of a psycho. He's a little crazy, just a little bit.
And it's not that the cartoon. This movie that we're actually discussing plays everything rather cartoonishly,
right?
But the subtext and the content is still there that paint a very dark picture of Neverland, and I want to mention the darkness of Neverland later in the cast as well when we get to our comments section, mm-hmm. and when we discuss Hook as well. But I was always struck by the fact that J.M. Barrie. J in J.M. Barrie is James. Like, he named the villain, Captain Hook, after himself, not the hero. And
that's right.
Even very young, I read Peter Pan probably in elementary school when I was like 12, and that struck me as interesting that, like, wow, the author of this book named the villain after himself, not the hero.
Right.
Which then begs the question, is Captain Hook a tragic figure? Because has he just been driven mad by the tauntings of this little pixie bastard?
You know what? I wouldn't be completely surprised. I feel like Hook is actually the good guy on the side of it. It's like we should be siding with him. I mean, I don't know. It's one of the biggest things. Did they ever explain like why Hook was going after Peter, except for the fact that Peter helped was it because of Peter that the crocodile bit off Hook's hand? Was that the reason? Like, Was that the reason Hook
Peter cut off Hook's hand and threw
Fed
it to
it?
the crocodile.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could never remember that detail for some reason. So really, I do think Hook is a tragic character. I don't think Hook's a villain. I think Hook's a good guy in this case.
I will say, I think Captain Hook is one of the all-time greats of Disney quote-unquote villains.
Oh, yeah.
The animation of him, the way he moves, the way he's so theatrical. There's, for anyone who might be currently watching the Netflix Lemony Snicket series of unfortunate events, or if you've ever read that book series, or even seen the Jim Carrey version, there's a lot of theatricality of Count Olaf that I feel is reminiscent of this version of Captain Hook. This very dramatic and over the top. I really enjoy the movement of him, the design of him, and I'm not alone in this because when we get to Princess and the Frog, Dr. Facilier was designed after the Captain Hook model.
Which is it's cool to see, and at the same time it's interesting because like we've obviously already seen villains in these films, and Hook is so very different than any villain we've previously previously encountered. Like you look at Cinderella's stepmother, she's a very straight-laced, very calm, very normal villain. Just like kind of feels like she oozes evilness. And like, but then you get like Hook. Yeah, exactly. And then you get Hook, and Hook's bouncing around and jumping around. Hook is almost has the hyperness of like a sidekick, you know, like he almost feels like he's got the energy of like Iago from Aladdin, and you know, whereas like Cinderella's stepmother is more like Jafar, like, you know, for people of the modern age who may know that better as a comparison. Like you have the very straight normal villain, and then you have the goofy sidekick villain, and Hook almost comes off as like a sidekick villain, but still very good, you know, and very, very awesome in his own right, because obviously then he has the goofy drunk Shmi. And boy, is Shmi a drunk.
Shmi is where I say Captain Hook is one of the great villains that we've seen so far, and I will keep him up high on this list as one of the greats. Shmi, whatever, is one of the all-time greatest villain henchmen, one of the great sidekick characters to a villain, because he's so endearing in his like doting over Captain Hook, and the voice acting done by it's the same actor who did the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland in our previous film.
Yep.
And he's a cute bumbling sidekick who has no venom in him. Like, whereas Captain Hook murdered a guy, and he's kidnapping a little girl, and he's trying to blow an adult. But Captain Hook is insane. Shmi is just
Shmi is just like, well, I'm going along with this. I'm a part of this. He hasn't killed me yet, so that's got to be a good sign. So,
but I love you, Captain Hook.
Shmi! I just would yell at him. Oh, it's so good. But it's a great dynamic. And it was fun. Like, I actually found myself looking forward to any time Hook was going to be on screen. Like, I wanted to just watch Captain Hook. Like, I got to the point about halfway through the film where I'm like, I don't care about Peter Pan or The Lost Boys, I don't care. I wanted to see Hook. Just show me Hook. Well, I want more of him.
It's not just that he and Smee and the pirates are, well, not necessarily the pirates, but him in particular with Smee are the most interesting characters in the movie. They have the most personality. They are also the plot. Because the premise of this film is Wendy, John, and Michael are just three kids, and they have flights of fancy, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Peter Pan shows up to rescue his shadow, meets Wendy, and flies them off. Selfishly wants her as his mother, and flies them off to Neverland. Shows them around the island. Wendy's like, "This was a fun trip. Time to go home," and they get kidnapped. They get saved. They go back.
Right.
It's a relatively simple plot, but it's really close to the source material in terms of its plot. It's one of the only interpretations of the source material that does not use the dialogue from J.M. Barrie himself. That this is though the premise is all from the play, none of the dialogue is, except the occasional lines such as "all this happened before and it'll happen again."
Which is such a strange, like, I guess it's not actually that strange since Disney hasn't really stuck super close to the source material for many of these film adaptations, and they still don't, even going up until, 20 years ago or so. There still is always like it's a variation of this story.
Right.
It's, and it's almost like a kid-friendlier quote unquote version of the story, and this
feels more like the play, the pantomime. What you see Maggie, the little girl playing at the beginning of Hook, she's doing the play that popularized Peter Pan in the 1800s. That this is the source material for this film, and the movie plays out cuter than it would if you don't look at the subtext of the murder and the kidnapping and the blatant racism of the Indian Native American people, which we will get to that.
Yes, I'll say thank you for bringing that up, because I actually there was this, and this is going to sound bad, and I don't mean it bad, but it's like I actually got a little excited because I went, oh my goodness, there hasn't been any blatantly racist crap in any of these films for like the last couple of movies. Wow, this just came out of nowhere. I thought we got past that point after like the early 40s, but apparently not. Apparently it was still just a little bit more there.
Yeah, I guess we can discuss that the Aboriginals, which John, who's the intellectual of the group, he actually refers to them more than the others in an intelligent matter. But boy, is this just, there is no excuse for what turned the red man red and how the Indians talk and how they look. These are just gross stereotypes of the Native American people.
Right, because they're all the very, very stereotypical cliche, like 1950s version of Native Americans. They were all like, anytime you ever saw it, it was the whole cowboys and Indians, and it was, it's always how a white man and, big feather headdresses and standing there, and very like Tonto, like for the Lone Ranger, and just that. How? Yeah, just, it's all the crap that's like, no, stop it.
Bad.
Bad Hollywood 1950s. Oh, how dare you!
Oddly, Tiger Lily, who's the only one who has a name, is the least offensive Native American character in this. Of all the Indians, I'm throwing quotes on that, of all the Injuns, she's the least offensive one. She has no lines of dialogue.
So according to Disney, the only way that we can make sure that these characters are not racist is we don't let them talk. That's where I'm getting at.
There were even animators involved in later years who would look back at that and go, it was incorrect for us to do that. And I found an interview from someone from the 70s who said, even if we made it right now, there's no way we would do it that way ever again. Didn't stop the most recent version of Pan from casting Rooney Mara as Tiger Lily, but apparently no one knows how to learn from mistakes of history.
No, and that's the thing. I don't think we're not very good at learning from mistakes. So that would just not fit with with the history of how we do things. So we don't learn.
But let's discuss Peter Pan himself, the quote unquote hero of this story. And though there is a puckishness to him, I mean, his name is Pan. He is clearly, in his original intention, a reference to Greek mythology, and even the character of Hermes from Greek mythology, and the playfulness of that type of character is there. However, he's still kind of a jerk.
Oh yeah, and it's like I've been trying to figure out like a way to like put to words what I'm thinking when it comes to Pan, and I keep coming back to the fact that because he's a child, he has a lot, or he can't grow up. He has a lot of that childlike mentality to him. The whole, that it's almost like he doesn't realize that he comes off as a jerk because he hasn't grown up and learn, and has gained the mental capacity to know that what he's doing is bad. He does yell at
mother,
right? Who's never taught him right from wrong, and so in his eye, everybody's just playing around. It's fun. It's all just having fun. Even though he does scold Tinkerbell when he finds out that she tried killing Wendy, like for a second time. But it's just like but it's the extreme because he's like he was gonna banish Tinkerbell flat out forever. But then Wendy's like, "Oh, you can't do that." Like, what did you just try killing you?
Do you think that Peter even would have honestly remembered that he had banished her? Because he's very absent-minded, which is from the source material, once again, even when in the original book, when he's flying Wendy, Michael, and John to Neverland, there are moments he forgets who they are and where they're going, and Wendy has to remind him. So even though he banished her, you're banished forever. A week later, he would have been like, "Oh, where's Tinkerbell?
Yeah,
come on, I didn't banish you. Come on, let's go on an adventure."
Right. And
he forgets Wendy when he goes to introduce her to the mermaids because they're like, "Oh, Peter, tell us a story. Oh, you want me to tell you an epic story about I took Captain Hook's hand? Peter, don't forget about me." Yeah. Oh yeah, Wendy, come on over.
Well, and the way, and speaking about like him saying like, "You want me to tell that story?" Like the way he delivers it, it sounds like, "Oh yeah, this is a story you've never heard before. Let me tell you this story." And then the mermaids are all like, "Oh yes, that's my favorite one." And so that just continues to aid to the fact that I wonder if he actually doesn't remember, that he has almost this weird short-term memory to himself, and maybe that's, OTC, we're cracking something. Because he has a short-term memory, is that why he's never grown up, because he continues to forget to grow up?
Oh, that is a very fair assumption.
Would that make sense? I know, okay, yeah, your body's still going to grow up. This is the man can fly, okay? Logic is out the window at this point. Also, yeah, the Darlings have a dog as their nanny. Now, Nana does a great job, don't get me wrong, but
she's a wonderful nanny.
But still.
To go to the first line in the book, which is also the first line in the movie, which is that all this has happened before and will happen again, it's the timelessness of Neverland as well as the ability to travel through time that Peter has. The reason that there are Aboriginal Indians on the Native American Indians in Neverland, as well as pirates, which are from different eras, is because Neverland itself is outside of time. It's this pocket dimension. And I know that sounds silly to analyze it from such a science fiction point of view, but that's a fact. The island itself is ageless and out of time. And Mr. Darling himself says at the end that he may, I feel like I've seen that ship somewhere before, which in terms of this movie could imply that Mr. Darling once upon a time went on an adventure with Peter.
Right.
Whereas in some other iterations.
That line blew my mind. I was like, what? He's a lost boy? Really?
Yeah. And there are other iterations of the Peter Pan mythology where it's Mrs. Darling who once upon a time went on an adventure with Peter. In the book, it's described that she has a secret smile on the corner of her lips that she keeps only for herself. It's a secret smile that Wendy sees in her. And Wendy realizes that secret smile by the end of her adventure is the memory of Peter Pan, that Mrs. Darling once upon a time went on an adventure with Peter, much like Wendy did, much like Wendy's daughter eventually does in sequels to Peter Pan.
Which is so... It's an interesting world. Like, Peter Pan's an interesting world because the like you said, the Wendy and all them, they're not the plot. At least for the film, they're not the plot. And it's such a interesting concept that we're introduced to this character that we know nothing about, for the fact that he just lives in this island, with other people, and no one ages, and he can fly, and there's magic, but there's it just feels very I don't even know. It's different. It's not a story that I feel like you would come across nowadays. But maybe it's because it was made in the late 1800s by Barry.
I wonder if it's because it's not a loose structure like Alice in Wonderland had, which was really just one thing after another. Because there is a story, a beginning, middle, and end to Peter Pan. It's not very urgent. There's not a lot of urgency in the story, so therefore it feels like less of a story. But I think that when you look at the subtext of growing up and taking flights of fancy, pun intended that time, and using your imagination and knowing when to stop using your imagination, and there's a lot of jerks in this. Peter's a jerk. Captain Hook is insane. Mr. Darling is an a-hole.
Yes, he is. Oh, and I love that his threat to Wendy was, "You're getting your own room now." Like, that's the threat. And I went, oh, wow, boy, the 1800s, early 1900s were a very different world when the threat to a young adult was, "You're getting your own room," and not well, you sleep with your siblings.
Perhaps that is less of the literal "you're getting a room." That's the threat. The threat is you have to grow up now. You are done being a child. You are moving out of the child's room. You are gonna stop being a kid. It's time to grow up. And that, who wants to really do that? I don't want to grow up. I want to be a kid forever.
I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
Continue the adventures.
I will always be a Toys R Us kid.
But in the beginning there, Mr. Darling is he's just fuming and booming voice and flipping out on his kids and then when he comes home, he's like, "Oh, come on, honey, you know that I never really mean those things." He's such a hothead.
But he's just, I can't help but talk about like the technical aspects of it, because it's such a beautiful movie and he's animated so well and he comes across as such a great it's so interesting because now I do know that it was purposeful that the models of Captain Hook and Mr. Darling are similar.
Yes, so sticks with the tradition of Mr. Darling and Captain Hook being always played by the same actor in every stage production, and even in the movies. There was the early 2000s Pan that came out. Jason Isaacs, who played Lucius Malfoy, he plays Mr. Darling / Captain Hook in that movie, which just goes to the story, putting the perspective into Wendy and the boys' point of view. Like they're the point of view characters. So the villainous Captain Hook, who represents evil, is the reimagination of the villainous father in their lives,
right?
Who threatens them with growing up. Like that makes sense.
It seemed to be such a common thread for a lot of stories back then. Like, I mean, you look at Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz did the exact same thing. Well, I mean, I know that was the movie more than anything that did it, but even the movie took a note from that, where it's like there is the equivalent of these characters in Dorothy's lives in Oz, and they're the Mrs. Gulch taking Toto away ultimately is the Wicked Witch. Like that little That and that's such a common thing nowadays. Like, I feel like so much stuff has done it when they want to. Like, and it's more of a reference, unfortunately, to the Wizard of Oz than it is a reference to Peter Pan, because it was more of a side thing for Peter Pan. But
well, not necessarily, because it has been a standard that Peter Pan always uses Captain Hook and Mr. Darling as the same person. That's from the very beginning of the inception of the pantomime, or the stage play. But you're right, there are other traditions of using the father figure as the villain later. Another example I can think of is Jumanji, the hunter that hunts Robin Williams is played by the same actor. I think it's F. Murray Abraham plays the hunter, as well as Robin Williams' father as a young boy.
That's right. And and it all goes back to that same concept of just, the whole over-demanding father figure is the villain to the child in the story. From their perspective, like you said, their perspective is that the father is the bad guy, which Not always true, but
Not always true, but
not
from a
bad.
child's point of view. But let's go back to talking about the animation itself, because you are right. There's some beautiful animation in this. The modeling of all the characters is great. There's not as serious of a division between the more animated characters versus the more realistic characters. There's more of a standard that crosses over all the characters. Yes, Smee is much more goofy in appearance, and the Lost Boys have more caricatures to them.
Right.
But it's more consistent between all the characters.
Right, because
And,
it's not even like that. The goofiness comes out once they hit to Neverland. Like Mr. Darling is very, very over the top and very
He's
animated.
Doing riding the wagon around.
Right. But then you get
Nana
Mrs. Nana, the anthropomorphic dog, the one that basically acts like a human except doesn't speak. That's a girl dog, right? Is that assumed?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But like she's very, very animated as well. But then you get Mrs. Darling, and even to some extent, Wendy, John, and Michael come off as a little bit more of the normal, but still have some animatedness to them. But obviously not nearly as much as the cartooniness that is of Hook and Shmi.
Right. I love the animation work on Peter, because they gave the animator, whoever was the lead animator specifically on Peter, did an incredible job of animating his weightlessness and his flights and how he moved. I cannot imagine it was an easy task to have to animate a character who rarely touches the ground.
Right.
To give him such movement. He moves like a feather in the wind. It's so great. And my love for Peter Pan goes to the simple fact that he can fly. I have been obsessed with the ability to fly since I was a wee little lad. I love Peter Pan for that aspect of being able to just take off and fly on a happy thought, and that's probably where my love of Superman roots in as well. The ability to just take off and soar in the sky. Oh man!
See, and mine went from like Peter Pan, but I was a huge magic nerd as a kid. Like not Magic the Gathering, but like practical, like actual like illusions, Michael. But like I love I was obsessed with Houdini. I loved David Copperfield as a child. I loved Lance Burton as a child, and like I watched those. And when one of David Copperfield's specials from the, I think it was like early 90s, like 92, 93, was a whole flying ordeal. He did this whole flying illusion, where he got inside of a box and was still flying around inside of this solid plexiglass box, and like it came to like this, like there was I used to subscribe to magic magazines that would offer up tricks in the back of them that you could send away, and for I am totally a nerd, but one of them was like a trick for like $400 it would allow you to levitate. That was the whole part of the trick. I never bought it as a kid, but I always wanted to, because I'm in that same boat. I love the idea of being able to fly. And while you went from Peter Pan to Superman, I went from Peter Pan to magic, because I was trying to actually find a way to do it. Like that was.
I'm being hypocritical, because I had like magic books and did card tricks when I was little, so I was digging on magic as well as a kid. But
I see how it is, TC. I see how it is. I see.
Yeah,
You sit over there and you make fun of me that you can run.
My whole life's a lie.
We have hit some good ground on today's episode of Deeper Feelings with TC and Jeff, and we'll be back next week for more. So TC, I do have a quick question for you, a legitimate question about this. I want to know, because we've already discussed about like how tonally or thematically dark this film is. Do you think so far, and we've hit some dark topics, but do you think this is actually like the darkest Disney movie we've watched in the list up to this point? I know a lot of goofiness happens, but I mean, there's a lot of talk of killing people. There's a ton of like jealousy, there's a ton of jealousy from Tinkerbell and even the mermaids towards Wendy, because they all see Wendy as a threat to them, apparently, because she's going to take Peter away.
And she's wearing a nightgown. What the heck?
She's such a prude. I mean, Tinkerbell's wearing like the tiniest skirt in the world, and the mermaids are topless. But then there's a ton of smoking and drinking. There's a lot of insensitivity towards like other races. There's a lot of mistreatment of women. There's a betrayal of like Tinkerbell goes to Hook to like rat out Peter Pan because that's
she is kidnapped, to be fair.
Yes, but then she's willingly giving, like she could have given him the wrong directions and let him into the middle of somewhere
she
else.
Was selfishly trying to get rid of Wendy. That was her motivation. She even made him promise not to lay a hand on Peter, which he did keep his promise. But to answer your question of if this is the darkest, I think subtextually, as adults we're able to look at and see way more of the inherent darkness in a lot of the themes and ideas and actions within this film. However, when you look at Pinocchio, when you look at, Pinocchio in particular, I think had some very visually creepy, darker imagery that no kid would have a problem realizing what the heck they were looking at. And, of course, there's Bald Mountain from Fantasia, which is very blatantly dark and demonic. And though I do agree that there is much more darkness in Peter Pan, I don't think it is as apparent to a child as it is to us right now.
And I suppose the audience of a child is the more important audience to pay attention to. You do bring up a good point that as an adult we're going to look at it because that's all I saw, and that's the thing. I don't remember any of that from this movie when I watched it when I was younger. Like none of that came across. But as an adult, I'm just like, oh my god, what are they doing? What? Oh my, they're endangering children at this point. What is happening? Like, oh my goodness.
When was the last time you watched this movie?
I was last time I watched Peter Pan would have been probably when I was like 5 or 6.
Okay, so it's honestly you came into this with a very fresh perspective.
I know the story. The last time I seen this version, I had watched that play version a handful of times, maybe up until like 5th grade, 6th grade, maybe. But like still, I was still a kid. I didn't look at it from the eyes of an adult. I have not watched Peter Pan as an adult. I've watched Hook as an adult, but I haven't watched Peter Pan as an adult.
Well, I'm curious then, how did you feel overall about this? I have some other notes that we can address in further conversation, but it might be worth jumping in right now and asking you of the movies we've watched so far.
I knew where you were going. I don't know why I groaned. I knew exactly where that was heading. So.
Yeah, I didn't try to sneak it in this time, and I beat you to the punch. But we can certainly keep talking about the movie. But I'm curious now, where do you place this in the movies we've watched? Have you given it some thought yet?
I have. It's from a technical standpoint. Words are hard. From a technical standpoint, I love how it looks. It's a beautiful, well done, very clean and very polished film. I love that. I like the simplicity of the story. It does hurt a little bit though, because I almost feel like the story. No, it's not too simple. I'll take that back. It's not too simple. I like the story for what it is. I like the adventure that we go on to. The biggest problem that I have is just I can't help but look at all of the things I just brought up for the darkness, and it almost pulls it back a little bit for me. I'm just like, oh, that's just. It's not awkward, but I'm like, it's too much. Like, why was no, that shouldn't be like that.
And you cranky old man.
I know, right? And it ruins it a little bit. Again, I love Hook as a character. I love Shmi. I can't get behind Peter or Tinkerbell. I feel like the good guys in the movie the good guys in the movie are worse than the bad guys. in a lot of instances.
Yeah, there's selfishness in a lot of the actions of Peter and and Tinkerbell herself. Though she's kind of redeemed in the end because she's realized her mistake, but in the long run she only cares about Peter, which is interestingly enough something that they used and explored in Hook with Julia Roberts confessing her love for Peter, which there certainly is enough information there to believe that for how much she dislikes this other girl showing up.
Right.
But,
that was like the first thing that I got when, like, the first scene when she shows up in the bedroom and the way that she's acting towards Wendy. I'm like, oh well, Tinkerbell's got a thing for Peter. Then obviously, like that makes sense because it is the look of a jealous girlfriend that does not want her boyfriend, whether or not they're actually dating, but does not want him being around anybody else but her. Like, you can kind of get that out of Tinkerbell. But having said all of that stuff, it is still, in my book, it is still better than Alice in Wonderland. So for me, it's number 2 on our list.
All right, it's my number 2 as well. We still have the same order.
All right. Cinderella is still better. So
yeah, despite what is this classic simplicity of Cinderella, I don't think that's a knock on Cinderella. I think that it's just it's such a standard of fairy tales now. But Cinderella is a more beautifully drawn movie. It's a more thought out film. The music is a bit more memorable, and there's more to Cinderella. Peter Pan has some great stuff in it. The animation is so great. The character designs are so great. It is more coherent and has more of a structure than Alice in Wonderland, which is why, like you, I'm putting it at my number 2. But there are some really fun moments throughout this. The gag that kind of cracked me up really, I think, the most was Shmi shaving Captain Hook, shaving the bird's butt, losing the head, and then, oh, I found it over here, Captain. I'm gonna get it right too. And he tries to pick up, like, that whole sequence is a farce of wonderful comedy that really cracked me up just sitting here watching it.
See, my favorite moment from the movie, since you brought up yours, is when Hook gets shot across the water and he's yelling and he's skipping across the surf. Oh, I lost it for that. I went, that's brilliant. I love that so much because it was just the right scream, like the pitch of his scream and the fact that it was skipping with him was just so, I loved it so much. Oh, I like it, and like that moment to me, that also helped when it came to the ranking of it. That moment helped definitely bring it up, like, because otherwise it was a close to a 3, but Alice in Wonderland is still too crazy for me to completely enjoy it. At least Peter Pan is a little more tolerable and less ridiculous and all over the place.
Let me ask then that, and something we've asked in our previous episodes is this appropriate for kids? Is this a movie that you would stick your nieces down in front of and say, hey, watch Peter Pan, enjoy it?
This one I would, because I don't, despite the stuff that I pointed out, I know for a fact, like what you said, my nieces aren't going to see any of that. You know, they're not going to get it. I know that they've watched, actually Tinkerbell has a TV show, or had a TV show for a while. Oh,
yeah, she has quite a few straight-to-DVD movies as well.
Right, and like I know my nieces have already watched those, actually, so, but like, I think this tells me
they've retroactively made Tinkerbell a nicer character in the sequels and whatnot. But no, I'm going to agree with you that I think that this is something I think kids could enjoy. It might really, I think this might be more appealing to little boys who are typical little boys, but there's enough fun and adventure in here for any little kid who might have it. The only thing that I would want to figure out how to present is the Indian section, because that really is inappropriate.
Oh yeah, and especially in a world today where you know, my nieces actually yelled at me because I said that I was going to sit down on the floor Indian style. And
because it's crisscross applesauce,
right? And I'm like, my nieces who are 6 and 9 will be 7 and 10 this year, yelled at me for calling it Indian style. It's crisscross applesauce, Uncle Jeff. And I was like, I'm sorry. And then obviously I didn't mean to be insensitive, but that's from the era that we're from. Like, it was still called Indian style. You sat on the floor Indian style, and it wasn't really until like the mid 90s, for at least for where I'm from, that the whole like no. Remember, it's Native Americans. It's not Indians. We don't call them like there was a real big push to get that to be like, to fix our vocabulary or our vernacular.
The lexicon.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, my nieces would. I think my nieces would still definitely enjoy this movie. But Peter Pan does follow that same pattern as we previously discussed, where it kind of alternates back and forth. The target audience for the film seems to be like, well, this one's more towards the girls, but there's still stuff that the boys are going to like. This one's more towards the boys, but there's still stuff the girls are going to like. And Peter Pan, like you said, is the towards the boys, but there's still stuff the girls could enjoy.
Yeah. I think I'm curious to see what the listeners might have to say about Peter Pan in general. Not just this movie, but I mean, really do mean Peter Pan in general. That the mythology of Peter Pan, the history of the character on stage and screen and animated, and there's many iterations of this. So I'm looking forward if you guys comment on the Facebook page or Twitter page at us.
Twitter page.
I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about it.
I look forward to you saying that every week, Stacey. That's why I get excited.
I'm happy to oblige there, sir.
It's the little things.
But I want to. Do you have any tropes or Disney things to mention? Because I want to move on to another section here, but first I want to ask: is there
wasn't anything? There wasn't any major firsts that I saw for this one because we've already kind of hit a couple of them. General Disney tropes would just be, the villain has a sidekick. The villain does not fall to his death in this one, though he does fall a long distance, only to narrowly avoid dying. So there's that. So it was close, but it wasn't entirely a trope. But there wasn't a ton of stuff for this particular one. It kind of was just, we've seen some of this stuff before.
Yeah, but I wonder if that means, despite that, yes, we are calling this the standard of Peter Pan. I wonder if not having a lot of those tropes might be why this is less of a classic than, say, like Cinderella or some of the other movies we will see down the road. Because I don't know. I don't know a large amount of people that this is one of their favorites.
Right. I know this is a movie that a lot of people have seen. Again, it's another one of those childhood films, and it's good. Again, we've already discussed it. It's a great film, but I still feel like I still think more people have probably, people from our generation have seen Hook more than they've seen
Hook. Yes,
Peter Pan. I mean, I told my sister this weekend. I was talking to her and I was like, "Yeah, we're watching Peter Pan this weekend," and she went, "Oh, actually, I like Hook a lot better." Like that was her comment. I didn't even like coax her to saying that, and she's a couple years older than I am, but that was her first response. She's like, "No, I like Hook a lot better than Peter Pan." And
let's talk about Hook. That why is that so good? I mean, there's so much going for it. You got Robin Williams. It's a Steven Spielberg film, and the dude is a master. John Williams on the score, the cinematography, the practical locations of Neverland. Rufio, who I've never liked. I know people are fans of Rufio, but
Rufio just came off
what
a
a jerk.
A giant jerk to me. That's how I ever saw him as. But then you got Dustin Hoffman as Hook.
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, and then Bob Hoskins is Shmi, and it's just like you have a fantastic cast of actors in this film, and they all do a great job at bringing to life something that is very you can see the Disney versions of those characters in these in their portrayal, but at the same time, it is still oddly kind of grounded, if that makes any sense. There is a bit of a reality in this fantastical world. I mean, obviously, it's like Hook being he captured the crocodile, killed it, and then turned it into a clock. Very ironic, but at the same time, it's well, so he actually lived up to his fear and did there's a weird grounded reality in that to see that the story didn't end with Hook just forever leaving Neverland and Peter's just always a kid. That there's kind of this darkness, but also this very much so of you grow up, you learn, you have to grow up.
There it is. I think it's maybe not necessarily a grounded reality as you might be painting it to some of the listeners, but the fact that there's a maturity in Hook, and it is the perfect sequel to every iteration of Peter Pan.
Right.
That you could watch this 1953 animated Peter Pan and then watch Hook, and it feels like the sequel. that a lot of the themes, if not all the themes that J.M. Barrie has in the source material, are played out to a fulfilling conclusion in Hook. That
Right.
all the metaphor and all the messages and all the themes, they're all played out wonderfully in Spielberg's Hook. It's so good.
And it's funny, not trying to go off on a long talk about Hook, but like Hook started, just in case anybody doesn't know, Hook started as a live action version of Peter Pan. Spielberg started making it in 1980 and had a script of it at the time that was Peter Pan. It was going to be a live action version of Peter Pan, but then other things came up. He kind of lost interest and then came back around to it. And by the time he came back around to it in the late 80s, the script had evolved into Peter's now an adult and has to go back to Neverland to save his kids and remembers who he was, which, a lot of that is also, that version of the script is based on notes from J.M. Barrie, based on his notes for what a sequel to Peter Pan was going to be that he was going to write.
That is incredible. That's so cool.
Because his original premise was like Peter Pan's going to grow up and he has to go back to Netherland. And that was the whole point, was that it was all going to be about a grown up Peter Pan. But he never wrote it, but he has the notes and the outlines from it, and some of that stuff made its way into Hook. So you making the comment that it is easily the spiritual sequel to every version of Peter Pan makes total sense, because it kind of is it has elements from the original author's concept of what the sequel was going to be.
That's so cool.
Plus, it's Robin Williams, and I can't go wrong with Robin Williams.
When rest in peace.
Yes.
When he passed away that night, I watched Hook. That was the Robin Williams movie I watched after he passed away.
I saw it in theaters. I have watched. It's been a few years since I've seen it, but I try to watch it like every 2 to 3 years. Just yep, it's time to watch Hook again. It's one of those movies where I will sit and I will watch that entire movie, and then I'll be like, I don't want to watch this for a while. Not because it's bad, but because I'm like, the experience of watching it it's like, yep, I've seen that. I can't watch it again. I want it to be fresh and new. And every time I watch it, it kind of just makes me happy and giddy. And it's also a staple of my childhood, because I watched it all the friggin' time as a child. So, yeah, I try not to watch it all the time now.
Well, but if there have been many iterations of the Peter Pan mythology, but if I may plug a version,
yes,
I have a couple of friends that I went to college with that have since published a trilogy, that's the Pan trilogy, and what they did is they took the original source material, they found every bit and piece of J.M. Barrie's notes and interviews and everything they could find on the entire mythology of Peter Pan, and wrote a trilogy about that universe, placing Peter Pan as the absolute and true villain of the entire series. That's
right. I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, that he is evil, that he is a bad man, a bad evil entity, and the Pan trilogy, you can find it on Facebook under the Pan Books. But Finnegan Murphy and Mikey Winkler are the authors, and they are full on novels. These things are 500 plus pages apiece. So if you are a fan of more dark tales, the latter books of Harry Potter, or if you like the Dark Crystal and more darker spins on childhood stories, I highly recommend it. It's very well written, and it's very interestingly done, and a lot of fun. So awesome. Especially because it's rooted so much in Barrie's own words, and the like we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast today, there's in the original source material, Peter kills off the Lost Boys if they get too old. He weeds them out.
That right there, yeah, just shows like he's not a good guy.
So that's a plug for some friends, but I 100% recommend it. I have read the series, and it is quite good. And yeah, there you go.
Well, we'll definitely we'll find the link for it, and we'll put it into the on the Facebook page. We'll also try to put it in the show notes for anybody who might want to go find that on the Facebook, just because we can. So yeah, I remember you telling me about it, and it's a fantastic, it's an awesome concept. I love stuff like that. It's so cool. Like stuff like that's so cool. Now we do have to mention really quick, since we already talked about Hook and we talked about other potential sequels and all that stuff. There is a single official sequel to Peter Pan from Disney.
Okay. Yes, it was something in Neverland.
Return to Neverland from 2002.
Return to Neverland. There you go. And it was released in theaters, but it was not part of the Disney Animation Studios library.
Correct.
It was released under a different company label.
Because I looked it up because I'm like, oh, so is that because I didn't know if it was one of the ones that we would be doing in the early 2000s list of films, and unfortunately it's not, which is why I'm like, we might as well talk about it right now. I have never seen it, but there is a part of me that's kind of curious to go check it out. Especially like this close to seeing Peter Pan, I kind of want to see it since like the designs of the characters are the same, and it's literally a sequel to that film without it being supposedly without it being a cheesy, stupid like direct to DVD, Belle and the Christmas Story of all time or whatever those things were.
I do remember it coming out in theaters, and it feels lower budget, but it does have it has a similar charm that the original, that the one we just watched has, though doesn't have many of those darker themes that we are noticing as an adult. And it is based on Barry's own work, that Jane is the daughter of Wendy, that comes from the original Peter Pan mythology. Check it out. It was up on Netflix, at least in the past 6 months. It might not be up there anymore, but there was a time when it was on Netflix.
So maybe people check that out. Let us know if you've seen that one. Maybe let us know how that sequel is, because I've never seen that. And then, like TC said earlier, let us know what you guys think about this Peter Pan. And if you want to talk about Hook, we can talk about Hook too. We did, I'm all for that as well. So
you can Twitter pate us on Twitter at Random Bell for Jeff, or at TC's Big Head for me. I do have a couple comments, but I'm going to save them for next week because I think they will be more apt once we've watched next week's movie.
And next week's movie, in case those of you are wondering, is 1955. Now, as I said before, we're starting to get a little bit bigger gaps between these films, so we're going to start blowing through the decades pretty dang quickly. But it's 1955's Lady and the Tramp.
Lady and the Tramp. When's the last time you watched this one, Jeff?
I have no idea.
Oh, man. Okay. I want you... You'll watch it, but listeners as well, as you're watching it. I referenced earlier that Captain Hook was used as a reference model for the design for for Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog. Lady and the Tramp's artistic design, particularly the matte paintings and the brushwork, was used as inspiration for Tangled's design. So pay attention to the animation techniques that are used, particularly for the backgrounds and the settings of Lady and the Tramp as you're watching it. Just a little note there.
Interesting. That's a good note. I love Tangled. I can't help it. I love that movie. That movie is awesome and funny, and I love the songs in it. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see Lady and the Tramp. Yeah, because I know the whole dinner spaghetti scene. Like I know that trope, but I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen, or if I even have seen, Lady and the Tramp. Honestly.
Okay. You might only know the spaghetti part. So
I might be. I'll be sitting there waiting for it the entire movie going, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And then it'll turn out to be a deleted scene, and it will never have happened, and I will freak out, and it will be the end of everything.
Oh, cruel world.
It'd be so mean if that was the truth. But so, TC, was there any other comments you had regarding Peter Pan?
Nope. I thank everyone for listening and commenting on Facebook at facebook.com/Fran. No,
that's the other podcast, TC.
Top Shelf Pod. Why can I not remember that?
You did it last week. You did it so good last week. I'm so.
If I don't think too hard about it, I think that happens. But no, I don't have anything else to say. Wait, I do have one other thing to say.
Yes,
I did another bonus video for one of our conversations, which you can find on the Facebook page. If you're listening to this on iTunes, head over there, or you can find it on the Ghost Hats YouTube channel. It was another after the fact conversation that Jeff and I had.
such a random, and I don't even remember how we even got on that topic in the first place, but it was so good. We discussed Batman v Superman and Logan some people's opinions of these films and how they may not, you know what, just go find the video. Go find it on the Facebook page. You'll love it. TC did an amazing job editing it and animating it.
Thank you.
Plus, I do thoroughly love both normal and zombie Jeff as well as upper class zombie Jeff. That's all I'm going to say, guys. That's all I'm going to say. There's a little teaser for those of you who haven't seen it.
Someone commented, I tried to comment on, I think it was Thomas's post on Facebook, and that I mentioned that after we finish recording, typically we talk for at least another half hour, and we usually remember things that we didn't say or think of about the movie we just discussed, but it's too late to bring up. So
it happens every time. It's what we do. But
that's it for me. If Jeff, if you have anything else, otherwise we've done it again.
We've done it again. We've gotten through another film. 14 movies, TC. Isn't that ridiculous?
Not really when you think of how many we have left.
No, I know. We still have 42 left. We're gonna be doing this for a while, everybody. So but no, I have nothing else for that. I look forward to the next movie, and I look forward to everybody coming back next week and listening to us ramble on about Lady and the Tramp. I made sure to say the movie title at least 2 or 3 times, just in case I didn't say it at least once. I want to make sure that we're saying it, unlike a previous episode where I didn't say the title. But with that, TC, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Jeff.
And we'll see everybody next time when I again attempt to come up with my sign-off.
This is a sign-off.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we're going to do every time. Bye, everybody. Slow clap. This has been a production of Ghost Hat Media, proud member of the Ghost Hat Network. Find them online at www.ghosthat.net.
I like the ending.